Hi there, everyone. It's Jen here from tarotspirit.net. I'm here to do a weekly reading for the week beginning September 24th, which is today. Sorry, I'm a little late again. Hope everyone's doing well. And let's just jump right in with Aries. Okay, so at the bottom of the deck today is the Seven of Cups, and this card comes up, and for me there's different like stages of this card. So one part of this card is about daydreaming and imagining possibilities, and for me this this energy is necessary for creativity. um, whether it's art or planning what we want to do in our lives or be in our lives or manifest in our lives, we need this space and time to let our minds consider the possibilities and wander and dream and things like that. The caution of this card is that sometimes we can live up in our head in our dreams and not actually ever live, physically, like manifest these things and actually live. And this is like I'd like to say, does your life match like your Instagram feed? And mine doesn't actually. I'm definitely stuck in a period where I'm more dreaming and in my mind than doing, and which is okay for a while, but mine's definitely past its expiration date and it's time to get off my ass and start doing some stuff. And even you can tell, even my channel, like my videos are later than normal. So, and sometimes this energy just happens. And I have lots of notes about things I want to do, but it's time to start doing them. So, where are you? This is general reading. Where are you on this spectrum? And you can be in different places and all sorts of different things, like exercise. Maybe I'm exercising, but my other thing, I'm in a inactive stage, or in my art I'm in a creative mode or a dreaming mode, not, which is okay, not a doing mode. So it's just asking you to check in with yourself and see where you are. Is it time to, do you need some time to rest and dream and recharge and get your creativity built back up? Or are you in a time where you've had enough time to dream and it's time to pick something and make some things happen? You have the Justice card. So we always love when the Justice card comes out. She talks about balance, and I really feel like a lot of her is validation. And we also have the Devil on the table. So she could show up, um, say you've been dealing with a difficult person or a difficult situation, which is usually caused by a difficult person. um, and when she shows up, it can be like, you know what? Yeah, here's some validation that this situation was toxic. That person was toxic. They were not on the up and up. Things were not cool. Um, And this could even be within you. It could be like, yep, it's time to bring things back into balance and get some of those bad habits, or if you have been stuck in the Seven of Cups for too long, that in and of itself is something, that could be not destructive and like it's going to kill you, but can start to be self-sabotaging. And it's like, okay, my inner demons have allowed me to be idle or procrastinate long enough, and it's time to bring things into balance and start balancing what I'm thinking and dreaming and what I'm actually doing in real life. And it brings about a change. It makes you feel better when we start, because you have confidence when you start actually doing what you're thinking or dreaming about or say you're interested in, and you start actually living that way. Like it, I want to travel. You don't have to travel to a different country. You can just explore places around you. it can still bring the same sort of like, yeah, I like to travel and maybe I can't afford it, but I can still do day trips and I can still get out there and do what I love, and it's going to exhilarate you. It's going to fill you up. So make sure you're doing activities and things that feed the positive wolf, shall we say. All right, so let's keep moving on. I'm going to move to Taurus. Excuse me. How are you, Taurus? I hope you're having a lovely week. We're getting a burst of summer here in the end of September. It's going to be 87 or something degrees in Vermont. I'm going to head out to my parents' camp on Lake Champlain and get some last swimming weather in. Everyone take a deep breath. Okay, the Four of Wands, lovely. The Magician, beautiful. Strength, wow. Okay. So at the bottom of the deck is this lovely King of Shields, King of Pentacles, King of Discs, King of Coins, whatever, depending on the deck you're using. And this guy is really something. He is the opposite of instant gratification. He is the slow and steady wins the race. He knows that things you start now may not pay off for decades, but he has the discipline and the perspective to know that he needs to start now. So you may be thinking about or implementing things this week that will have very long-reaching benefits, but not instant benefits. So it takes an extreme amount of discipline to keep putting that $5 away, because it's easy. Oh, it's just $5. It's not going to make any difference. I'm too young to start saving for retirement. Oh, college is still, 10 years off, blah, blah, blah. So this is like, he's like, nope, start it. Get your will done. Oh, but I'm too young. Nope. Get all those things. Be really practical. So this is a week for being practical. Then you have these beautiful cards. You have the Four of Wands. So he may be coming up because there's been a wedding, a birth, an anniversary, some sort of major milestone, and it could trigger like, oh, when things like that happen, like, oh, maybe I should think about, you hear someone's retiring. Oh, am I prepared for retirement? Or you hear someone's sending their kids off to college for the first time and how much it costs. Whoa, should I be saving for my kids' college? You know what I mean? So it may be triggering that. You may hear someone gets married, some sort of big milestone, but whatever you start implementing will reach far into the future and make your life, the foundation of your life, more solid. The Magician, he's like, you can manifest whatever you want. So I think a lot of times it's very difficult to think, okay, like me, we'll use me for example. I know people don't like to hear me talk about myself, but I don't know what other examples to give. I would really like to have another horse. And I've been thinking about, it's so expensive. Like I barely, I'm a single mom. It's like, okay, I have to be able to afford necessities. That's very frivolous, even though it's something very important to me. And am I going to have the time to really spend with this? So there are all these thoughts that go into it. But if I'm really going to manifest this, I need to start tapping into that King of Wands King of Shields, and start saving money. I need to start, you know what I mean? I need to figure out a way to, it may be 3 years from now, but if I don't start now, it's going to be 10 years from now or never. So this Magician is like, you do have the tools to do this, but you have to use the tools. You have to start. You have to do it right. So you need some of that King of Shields energy to manifest things, to make the practical, tangible things happen. You need to start. And a lot of the reasons why we don't start is because we're scared. How could I possibly start a new career? How could I possibly, I want my own house, but oh my God, it comes with so much responsibilities. And then boom, you've talked yourself out of even starting. But the strength card is about you may feel vulnerable and it may feel scary, but it's like doing it anyway. That's what true strength is. Like, I'm really worried about, starting this new phase of my life, but I'm going to do it anyway because I know that it's what I want. And if it fails, it fails. But like, you, there's playing it, there's being practical and playing it safe, and then there's not living. So you have to look and see where you're being practical or playing it so safe that you're not manifesting the things you really hope and dream to manifest in this time we have here. Okay, let's move on to Gemini. Gemini, I just saw it turn from 11:11. I hope you're doing well. I am using the Arthurian Legend Tarot cards by the person, I can't remember her name. I know pretty sure it's a woman. Let's see, what's going on for Gemini? Queen of Cups, Four of Shields, and the Star. Okay, at the bottom of the deck is the Two of Shields. I read this card a little different in this deck because if you look, there are these two guys and they're coming, from opposite sides of this river, and they're meeting in the middle. They're above the water, they're above their emotions, and to me it's a meeting of the minds, which I don't usually read this card that way. It's more about having a lot to juggle. But I feel like for some of you, you need to have a sit down. You need to have a conversation with someone this week, like one that you've probably been avoiding, but it's time. It's time to just have a good talk. When you have to have these talks, you can Google their I statements. I highly suggest you look that up and you practice them ahead of time because they're really hard to do in the moment. But whenever you need to bring something up with someone, to put it from your perspective and to try, this is what I see, this is what I think, this is how I feel, this is, keep it on you instead of blaming the other person, which is what I usually do. Just not the thing to do. So learn from my mistakes. And it could be about this jerk. I really don't like this card because I've dealt with some people like this. The Four of Shields to me, and the Anna K Tarot has my favorite depiction of this card. It's this man, and he's has all these bags of things, of gold, of stuff, and he's like crouched down, huddled, like trying to protect his stuff, and there's this stone wall behind him, and his family, who looks cold and left out in the cold, I guess you could say, is on the other side of the fence, like looking at him, and he's so intent on his things to the point that he's excluding important people and relationships. So any sort of behavior, and this could be, so you have to look at your situation. Is there somewhere in my life where either I'm putting, my priorities are a little messed up, or I'm dealing with someone whose priorities are messed up? It can also be a card about boundaries, which I think it may be with this needing to have this meeting of the minds, and it's very difficult to set boundaries, and usually the people you have to set boundaries with are the people who are the most disrespectful of your boundaries. So look for that. Those are red flags, okay? And being emotionally mature enough to have this conversation. So some of you are going to be like, damn, I'm an adult. I'm going here, I'm doing this. And instead of what I've done and seen and experienced in the past is we don't usually have these like very upfront, this is what's I'm concerned about, I feel, using our I statements, we usually don't say anything and it comes out in indirect, resentful, passive aggressive, nasty ways. And it creates a fight or tension or issues without maturely and directly and um, addressing the real issue. And so I think lots of times, like, relationships break up, and people never really express the true thing that was bugging them because for some reason they didn't feel they could go there, or they felt like if they had that conversation, it might ruin the relationship. But not having that conversation ruins it. So she's mature enough to be able to discuss how she feels, um, and understand that, hey, if it ruins the relationship, is going to ruin it anyway, and at least I was mature and direct enough to talk about it head on. This is dreaming and wish. This is really thinking about your long-term goals, big ideas. um Sometimes when we're in situations that are challenging, it's very difficult to see the big picture and to see that it's temporary in a moment in time, because it can feel so all encompassing, and that's not quite the word I want to use, consuming. Um, but I feel like you guys are really going to, like, super mature this week. Like, you're going to have the difficult conversations you have to have, and you're like, what do I, instead of wallowing in, especially if maybe a situation doesn't work out, you're going to be like, where do I go from here? What's the new door opening if I had to close the door on a situation or a person or even a job situation? Like, oh, it's an opportunity for something new. So you guys are really, like, seeing the opportunity, and in this, potentially, I don't even think it's negative, because if situation's not working out, what's really negative is staying in it, not addressing it, and staying it instead of meeting it head on, and dealing with, however, you may talk to someone, they're like, no, I am never going to ever help you financially with anything. And I'm just bringing that up because this is often called the miser card. Even if we get married and have kids together, it's my money and that's your money. And then you're like, oh, okay, that's not going to work for me. Or maybe it is, I don't know. But then you get like, okay, well, what do I want in a relationship then? I need to get more clear about this. I never thought about that perspective. Um, and then you can manifest the relationship you want. All right, let's keep moving on to Cancer. Hi, Cancer. How are you? Thank you for tuning in. Everyone, take a deep breath. Ah, the King of Wands. I had a feeling he was going to come out, because I said King of Wands by mistake earlier. And the King of Swords and the High Priestess. All right, at the bottom of the deck, the Eight of Swords. Easiest way to remember this card is it's the denial card. You are not, you don't want, I don't want to say, I sound so judgmental. Consider that there may be something you're not seeing. I can use an example. I know someone who is doing everything except dealing with the real issue, which is the toxic behavior of her significant other. And she keeps moving. She keeps getting different jobs. It's like she's dancing around every issue and trying to deal with every other thing in her life. And it keeps failing because she's not dealing with the real issue, which is this toxic person in her life. So with this being at the bottom of the deck, it asks you to consider if you're just ignoring the elephant in the room, and and sometimes it's because it's hard. It would be seemingly the hardest thing to do is to tackle that issue straight on. So you want to look at other things you feel are more in your control or easier to deal with, but that's right under the surface, and it's just highlighted and magnified by the high priestess. She is like that little nagging thing that comes up, that thought that comes up and you chase away, and that's it. That's, you have to deal with it sooner than later, because if you don't, the Tower card's going to come in. That's what the Tower card does. And that's why I don't necessarily think it's a bad card, because it's like you needed that shake up, that wake up call, because you're not dealing with something. And probably your friends are all rolling their eyes, and they've probably tried to broach the subject, is that the right word, with you, and you just, they just, it reminds me of, you remember, I love When Harry Met Sally. It's an old movie, but it's a great movie. Carrie Fisher's character actually was dating a married man. And I'm not saying this is you guys are dating a married man, but maybe some of you are. And she would talk about him and she's like, I don't think he's ever leaving his wife. And everyone's like, no one does. No one thinks he's gonna leave her. Like, it's just, she's like, oh, I know you're right. But she never actually, she does eventually, but she just she just can't get it. So I think that this will come to light. I think this will be a week where it will, and it's usually it just clicks and you're like, what the hell have I been doing? Or it just becomes so clear. And be easy on yourself. Everyone does this all the time in some area of their life. So it's just something our brain does. I'm be interested in the psychology behind denial. Then you have these two guys, and I think their energies are what you need to really move on kind of from once you have this realization. And the first one is this King of Swords, and he cuts away all the other crap, the emotions, the story from a situation that has nothing to do with their current situation that we attach to it. Oh, I can't, we'll just stay with this, that it's a relationship situation. Oh, well, I can't break up with them because we live together and this and that, and we have blah, 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 and where would he go or where would she go and what, like this whole other, like all these extra things we attach to it that just, it's like, if this relationship isn't working out, he cuts it away. Are you happy? Is this a positive thing in your life, or is it draining you and making you, and probably both of you, unhappy? Okay, cut it clean. Like, what are you doing? That's really the depth of it. And you'll deal with all those more mundane logistical things. They will work themselves out. They're not, people break up and move and leave and move in together and move out and all the time. It's really not that big of a deal, but you can build it up to be such a big deal so you don't have to deal with it. So he's going to cut away all that crap and just look at the bottom line. And then he says, okay, you're making this change. You're seeing this situation for what it is. Now, where's your passion? Where do you want to go from here? Let's not get derailed by something that didn't work out. It's not a failure. It's an opportunity to learn. All right, that didn't work out. You're not going to know if things work out unless you are in the situation. What did you learn from this situation, and where are we moving? So get excited about, okay, I'm finally dealing with this. It's finally out, and it can actually be a real release, a relief, because usually when these breakthroughs or these things come out, they're nowhere near as bad as you thought they were. And it's sort of this relief, and then it's like, oh my God, I've been carrying all this stress and like spending all this energy not dealing with the thing I had to deal with, and then once I dealt with it, it wasn't all that bad, and it's like your load is lightened, and then you have this energy to move forward in a new, like, how was I being held back from that situation? That's another thing. Are you using this situation on some level so that you don't have to move forward? because that takes a lot of courage and energy too, and you could fail in another area. But especially if you're in a relationship, it's easy to blame it on someone else and say, well, I haven't been able to move forward because this person won't let me. Now, when you have the opportunity, it's all on you. It's all on you uh, for the accountability and responsibility of your life. So that's something to think about. All right, let's move on to Leo. How are you, Leo? It's hard to clear my energy fast enough when I do these back-to-back-to-back readings. So I'm using the Arthurian Legend Tarot, Page of Swords, Seven of Cups. That's the second time that came out, and the Death card. Oh, Strength. Okay, nice. So the Strength card. Keeping this short and sweet, the Strength card is about doing things even though you're scared or worried. It's making yourself vulnerable. So asking that person out, taking a new job, moving, starting a business. And so this isn't starting a business like on the spur of the moment. This is planning, doing all your research, and there's still no guarantee, but it's like you've done the work, so you have a good plan. It looks like a viable business strategy, but that's still scary to do it. So this isn't doing something what's the word? This isn't tying a piece of steak around your neck and walking into a lion cage. You know what I mean? This isn't being risky, dangerously. This is taking calculated risks to improve and follow your dreams. And this just fell out, the Ten of Cups. So what is your happily ever after? That can look like anything for anyone. The Seven of Cups energy, I'm going to go to that next. This just came up, I think, for Aries. So I don't know if you have an Aries connection, but I think it was Aries. So Seven of Cups, daydreaming, considering the possibilities. In order to get to the Strength card where you're taking your calculated risk and putting yourself out there, you need to figure out what you want what that risk is, what you dream of, what you want to create. And you need this time and this energy to fantasize, to daydream, to plan, for your creativity to have time to work. I'm sorry, my words are sort of escaping me right now. But there is a point in time with this card where you need to bring it into the physical realm and make some practical things happen. The Page of Swords is, so if you want a new job, put your resume out there. Maybe do something like LinkedIn, like get your whatever area this is in that you want to start. Maybe you want a YouTube channel, maybe you want to do whatever it is, like get a website, get your social media, take some classes in that. I should take some classes in that because I do a real half-assed job. This is my hobby. It's like if I want to really make it into a career, I need to start making my videos nicer, having a cover page, really more branding myself. So take it to that level. If this is something you really want manifesting and you're serious about it, take it to that next level. Don't do what I do and just throw video up because it's your hobby and it's something you do. Because I have a full-time job. Well, you have to figure out what level it is. If you just want to have fun, it's something you do, cool. But if you really want to take it serious and have it be like your business or your whatever, this is like getting all that communications, marketing, uh, online presence, all that thing, and treat it like a business from the get-go. Like you already have a well-established business and you're not just doing it off the top of your head. So this is asking you to change. So maybe it's time to change from doing it as a hobby to doing it as a professional business. Maybe it's time to take your relationship from being just casually dating to the next level. Maybe it's time to up your hobby, up something, transform it. So this would be a good week to really, maybe you need a new website. Maybe you need to refresh your website. Maybe you need to, your personal account and your business accounts have kind of developed in, they're like your Instagram's kind of your business and kind of your personal. Maybe that's okay. Maybe you need to branch off and really start making a plan and branding this new you. But you can do this in a non-business way, branding the new you professionally. You can be a leader if you want to become a manager at work or something. It doesn't mean you go in and you take over, but lead by example. Learn to be an approachable person that people come to help problem solve. People will take notice of that. So you can transform things in many different ways. Get your LinkedIn account uh, all squared away, have a professional picture, all sorts of those things this week. Okay, let's move on to Virgo. Hi there, Virgo. Everyone take a deep breath. Hope everyone has a lovely week. We're having a little bit of a summer and in fall here in Vermont. It's going to be in the mid to high 80s again. Was yesterday, will be for the next couple days, and then it's going to become more moderate. But I'm sorry, I'm tired. Look at me like filling in, like chatting about the weather. All right, let's get on with your reading, because who cares? 10 of Shields. So this is a beautiful, beautiful, powerful card. It has the weight of generations, of legacy, of inheritance, of the past, the present, the future. Big perspective. So at the bottom of the deck, this would mean on a very mundane level, it could be meeting with extended family, seeing your parents, grandparents, new grandkids, or kids coming into the picture. It's a good card when it comes up to think about legacy, and it's not always a fun thing to think about. Like, how are people going to think of me when I'm dead? But and it's not in a morbid sense. It's in the sense of, okay, how was I brought up? What sort of things were passed on to me by my parents? Do I want to continue them? Sometimes we need to break legacies more than carry them on. Maybe you had an alcoholic parent. Maybe you had an abusive parent. Maybe you had, some not so desirable things that have kind of come through your family. And then you have the opportunity to decide whether you continue them or not. But you have to be real honest and really look at, your relationship with your children, your relationship with your family today, and really say, hey, what traditions and things am I carrying that are great, and what needs to be left in the past? And then how do I want to be thought of when I'm gone? And how is my life lining up? Is that likely to happen? If I want people to say, oh, she was adventurous and I never go anywhere, what are the chances people are going to say I'm adventurous? And why is that? Is that really important to me, or is that just an idea I had in my head? And yeah, something to ponder. Some of you may have a career opportunity coming in, or any sort of opportunity to move, opportunity to travel, since I just brought that up. This is usually something you've put in motion that when the opportunity comes about, you panic a little because maybe you've really liked this person for and you've fantasized, you've dreamed of being with this person. All of a sudden they ask you out and you're like, oh my God, do I really like them? Are they cute enough? What will people think? Blah, blah, blah. And we go through all these ego-based like panics, like, oh, I got the job. Do I really want this job? Even though, yesterday you were like, oh, to your friend, oh, I really, really hope I get this job. And then it's like when it happens, we have this like moment of panic where our self-sabotaging tendencies come up. So just be aware that this is something you wanted. This is something you put in motion, and sleep on it, give yourself a chance to process it, and then realize, it's a really good thing. It's something that I think is going to this can also be like an aha, that can also be like an aha moment. Like I need to start finding a new job. I need to start doing these things. This is a wake-up call. This could happen, for example, you hear someone young, not, around your age, has a heart attack. And you're like, holy crap. It makes it real, like, wow, that could happen to me. So it could be like an outside situation, or it could just be that, it could be someone passing. And I'm not saying someone, but hearing about, you know, someone passing, or hearing about a new child, and you're like, oh my God, these people are having grandkids and I haven't even had my own kid, or I'm not even married. Caution about comparing yourself to other people. We all have our own happily ever after. And just because yours doesn't have to look the same. And so be careful about comparing yourself. However, if you do feel whatever was the motivation behind this sort of wake up call, it's like maybe you're like, I always like to exercise and I talk about exercise, but I really haven't been dedicated. And I heard someone had a heart attack. I'm going to start walking, or so and so passed and they hated their job. They died hating their job and life's too short. I got to find a career I like, or, you know what I mean? So something could just give you a little like, oh, a little wake up call, and just like, I got to make some changes here. And that's always a good thing. So welcome that card. I see these are really positive. I know I'm like talking about death and stuff, but those are just easy examples. So you have this wake up call, you realize you're motivated now to make some changes. So if you want a new job, put your resume out there. If maybe you want to start dating, get on some online dating, or join meetups or something. Start communicating, get your online business in order, get your LinkedIn account if you're interested in maybe furthering your career. Communicate. If you haven't talked to someone in your family in a while, send them an email. Try to get together. Excuse me, I'm taking a drink. Things like that. Reach out to your family if you haven't seen them in a while. Make plans to get together. But I feel you're going to get a little. Oh yeah, I'm just going to say it again. A wake up call, and you're going to heed it and make some really positive changes that you're really going to thrive and be happy about. Okay, on to Libra. Hi Libra, thanks for joining me. I'm going to spray some cleansing spray. I find it hard to, oops, I'm spraying my coffee. The energy of doing these readings one right after another. It's a little tough. Oh, so you have a card that wants to come out. It's a nice one. Knight of Shit. The cards are like, just shut up and do the reading, Jen. No one wants to hear you. There are too many. Oh, yours are popping out. That just came out for Virgo. I hope I wasn't saying... Sometimes I say the wrong sign just because I'm doing so many in a row. I get confused. So I hope I wasn't saying Libra during Virgo, but this is Libra. You got some awesome cards here, really. The universe. The World card comes up when you are something's culminating. It's a ending and a beginning all at once. So an example would be a young person getting into college. So your schooling, your high school, your childhood part of school is coming to an end, and yet at the same time you're getting into college and starting this new phase of life, this new experience, this new adventure. So I mean, that could be so, but it's usually something rather big. So getting a new job, maybe you're moving, any sort of... I'm going to keep reading because it could really be anything. So whatever came to your mind, or you could hear about this happening to someone else and you could be like, well, I kind of want a new job. It could be something like triggering in a positive way that kind of like, oh, that's interesting, because you can find inspiration and motivation from other people, and it's different between jealousy and comparing yourself to other people, or seeing someone making some cool positive changes and like, hey, that's a great idea. They're helping to inspire and motivate me to make some changes in my life, and that's good. That's a positive thing. You do want to make some tangible changes, though. This has come up, I think, the third time. The Ten of Shields, legacy, many generations. It's this card has a lot of depth to it. I feel like some cards, this is just a beefy card. There's a lot of meat on the bone here, and when it comes up, it can be something as simple as traveling to see family. Is definitely a possibility with the Chariot card, but it's legacy. It's like, and it doesn't have to be morbid, but like, what sort of values, habits, experiences have been passed down through my family? So this obviously could be things, but it can be behaviors and dynamics and dysfunction even. What what experiences did I have growing up that I want to continue in my life and even potentially pass on to my own kids? And what are some things that need to stay in the past? What are some things that I need to proudly end and not continue as a legacy part of my family? What am I living my life so that when I think about, okay, if I pass, what do I want people to think about me? How would I want my um, people's perception of me? That, oh, she was a generous person. She was an adventurous person. Well, are you giving? Are you an adventurous person? So it's a kind of a way to like I like to say, does your life match your Instagram feed? If you so finding a way to just considering all those things. And it's really interesting because it's like you're gonna decide at least to make some real tangible changes. Knight of Shields, Knights, changes in home, health, family, even spirituality, wanting to change something, how you earn your money, your health, where you live. And with this travel, some of you are going to be like, I'm moving. I'm moving. I want to move somewhere. I want to travel. You'll set up some plans to make travel, but it's like a new way of life. Like this world card is really, and you have this beautiful Ace of Swords under here too. New thoughts, new way of thinking about things, new way of thinking about life. So you may hear like of someone passing, and it jogs. It just like really uh, motivates you to make some changes. Maybe you hear someone's uncle died and they're your age and you're like, holy crap, they had a heart attack. It can make you look at your life. So I'm not saying like someone close to you, this is going to happen to someone close to you, but it's something to trigger you to think, huh, what am I doing here? Is this where I want to be? And if not, let's start making some practical steps to getting to where I want to be. Because we never know how long we have here. All right, Scorpio. Hi, Scorpio. How's it going? I have a lot of Scorpio in my chart. Not that you care. Just a little random thought. Eight of Wands. I love that card. It just came out. I can't remember for whom, but a couple signs ago. Okay. So at the bottom of this deck, we have the Eight of Shields, Eight of Pentacles, Eight of Coins, Eight of Discs, depending on what deck you're using. I really love this card because this is finding what feeds your soul. And if you haven't found it yet, it's okay. Like, it's okay. Because I sort of hate, like, not everyone has something they're super, super passionate about that they just love and it's their thing. And when they do it, they just feel so present and happy. And it just really, they found what, feeds their soul. But it's, if you don't have that thing or you don't have that thing yet, it's finding ways to get connected, with the earth, to get connected to the present time, to get grounded, to better cope with stress. And I like that, really being connected and grounded with the earth and in the present time, mindfulness, all these key words we like to use today, but meditation, but it can also be walking in the woods, gardening, going to the gym. I mean, working on, my son he and my father are restoring an old car that my brother got when he was a teenager. Working in the workshop, restoring that car is something that they just, he doesn't want to, he loves it. My son definitely is an electronic age kid. He doesn't, they just have music going and he's gone for hours and he never even thinks about Minecraft or YouTube. So finding that thing, staying grounded, staying present, staying mindful this week, because we do have this Nine of Shields, which is being up at night worrying. It's the insomnia card. It's the anxiety card. And it's like, and I struggle with this so much, is all this energy and time we put into worrying about something that often a week from now isn't even an issue. But in the moment, it feels very, very, we allow it to take on a life of its own. I would literally write down, when I was younger, I'm a little better now. One thing that helped me is thinking, will this matter in a day, a week, a month, a year? And I would write things down. It was back when I had a paper calendar. I'd write in my little calendar, like, something of the event that happened and when these things would happen. And I would go back a week, a month, and I'd be like, I forgot that even happened. So it's almost like I have to talk myself through, let it go, breathe, let it go, use my tools that help keep me grounded and present. And I mean, in a way, it's like healthy compartmentalizing. Like, the more thoughts I give to the situation, the more it's like feeding a fire. But that will burn out if I just let it be. It's really not a big deal. Maybe a wind came in and fanned it up for right now, but it's going to die out. And I just need to manage my anxiety and stress during that time. I actually think the stress is over something positive. And I know that sounds crazy, but with this card, I feel like you guys are like getting that job you applied for. You're getting that loan you applied for. You're that person that you asked out is wants to go out, and you're like you're panicking, and you're like all the when we're fantasizing, we fantasize about all the positives, right? Oh, it's going to be amazing. This person's going to be the person of my dreams. They're perfect. This job's I'm going to love it. I'm never going to have a day I don't want to go into work. And then when it becomes a reality, the whole other side of the equation comes up. Do I really want this job? What if the boss is a jerk? Oh, well, the parking's not quite the same. Well, like all the things now we go the opposite direction. Oh, is that person, are other people going to like them? What are they going to think? The negative ego side creeps in, and the truth is somewhere in the middle, right? Of our fantasy, and then our worries and fears and anxieties. It's okay. Like, give yourself the weekend. Say you get a job, give yourself a few days. You don't have to say yes or no. People expect you to take some time to think about it. Go on one date. It's not gonna, go on one date. Don't self-sabotage before it happens. So this is just like something coming through, and all of a sudden you're all worried about it. And so just recognizing that, meditating, going for a walk, doing something to calm yourself. Because there's this these two together are like new job, new place to live, new something and it might be something you've been working on for a long time. I mean, you may have this, and this hobby may be actually turning into a business, and you're worried. Maybe you're so much so that you can leave your 9-to-5 job, and you're really worried about that. But new beginnings and health, happiness, where you live, like you're manifesting the things you want to manifest, and it's just worrying you. So just know that these are your fears. They're not definite. They're not reality. Okay, let's move on to Sag. Hello, my fellow Saggies. I hope you're doing well. Excuse me. Take some deep breaths. When I do all these readings right in a row, it's a little challenging on my energy. All right, 7 of Cups. That's come up quite a few times this week. Excuse me. We've been having some challenging cards. They're not bad. I'm really sorry. I wish I could. Okay. At the bottom of the deck, the Knight of Swords. Change in thinking, a change in perspective. This week is the week to cut some things loose, to cut some ties, to move on, we're going to have to call on our air sign energy that we have, and just make some really logical, thoughtful, from the head decisions, and change how we're thinking about things. And what's kind of interesting is, like, we have this 2 Swords and 2 Cups cards. This card can be read a few different ways for me, it can be the really important energy for creativity and dreaming and daydreaming and really for manifesting, because we have to have the time and energy and space to dream about and plan for what we want to manifest. Um, that's extremely important, but there can be a time where we're sort of living in our dream world and living in our head and living on our Instagram feed and not actually practically, physically living and manifesting these things that we're dreaming about. So I kind of love this Ten of Swords with that Knight of Swords. It's like, okay, let's cut away the fantasy, the emotions that are tied to something, so that we can let some things go, so that we can move on. It's like, and with the Six of Cups, it's like we need to simplify this week. We need to simplify our thoughts from, like, maybe our thoughts have been getting away with us. And it's like we need to calm our thoughts. We need to calm our anxiety and worry. We need to get to the heart. It's interesting I said heart. We have the head and the heart. We have the swords and the cups. Get to the heart of the matter, but and then in our brain, like, cut away everything else that doesn't matter. I bring up I work in oncology, and we have these meetings called tumor boards where all the different physicians, so radiology, pathology, surgery, the medical oncologist, the radiation oncologist, research, nurses, social workers, familial cancer program, anyone that could possibly be involved in these patients' care come to this meeting. And we're still trying to figure out how to fight cancer and cure cancer. So there sometimes is not data and evidence to know what to do next. And so it can go into this big discussion of trying to extrapolate off of other data, and it can become a gray area because there really isn't a clear way to proceed. And there's this magical moment when one physician said, "You know what? If this was my mother, if this was my father, if this was my daughter, this is what I would do." And all the other thoughts and everything else, just all the other background noise just is silenced. And it's so clear when it gets put in that context what that physician's going to counsel the patient on. Of course, it's always up to the patient, their treatment, but this is what I think, but here are all the options, but this is what I think makes the most sense. And they can really say from their heart, like, that's what they feel comfortable with, that what's me. So it's like we're going to have this magical moment this week where the background noise, we get rid of all the background noise and things get really simple, and we can pick from these seven, often in the Rider-Waite, there are 7 cups and each cup has something different in it. And we can't pick one. It's like we're going to be able to pick the cup because we're going to get real simple and real clear on our priorities and what matters the most. And that's a magical moment when something like that happens. On to Capricorn. Hey, Capricorn. Oh, it's my friend's birthday. It just popped up on my computer. I'm going to do a birthday reading for her. I'm sorry. There's birthday reading. I got to write this down because I'm old. For Sue. Aw. I love that she's older than I am. I'm just kidding. I say that to my best friend. She's one of my best friends. But it's like, Everyone around me is so much younger. Like I could be the mother of most of the young women that work in my office. So I'm like, oh, it's nice that someone out there is older than I am. Okay, who am I doing? Capricorn. Let's get focused. Ace of Cups, new emotional beginning. This is just a beautiful card. It's just healing and cleaning and cleansing. That's the word I want to use. Your cup runneth over. This burst of positive emotions, new love, a new child, hearing of a pregnancy, hearing of just anything that elicits just a swelling of positive emotions in us. Now, this is going to come about by, for some of you, it could be something external. You hear someone's pregnant, you hear someone's getting married, you hear something nice. But I think a lot of us are going to make it happen ourselves, and we're going to make it happen by lightening our load. So it's like our cups are empty in some area. We have like maybe all sorts of, let's say I know this is a wands card, but say we have like 10 cups, and some of them are empty, some of them have a little bit in it. So we're going to consolidate. We're going to get rid of all the empty cups, the things that are emptying our cups, and use what's left, the things, and fill this one cup. Okay, so we're going to consolidate our energy. We're going to figure out what really is our responsibility and our commitments. What truly requires our attention, and where we've just spread ourselves too thin, or where we've taken on things that are really something else someone else should deal with, and lightening our load. Oh, and it's just like, oh, I don't have to do everything. It's like this aha moment, and we have all this energy back, and we get our mojo back. We feel better, because we've taken a stand. And this is often an internal stand. Like I don't have to make homemade brownies from scratch every time there's a kid's birthday party, or at school or something. I don't have to be the one that the office mom that always remembers and gets the card, and so you think, oh well, I only do it here and I only do it here. But when you realize you do it in every aspect of your life, that's a lot of energy. And yes, it's nice, but you don't have to do it every time, because then, you know what I mean? So where are you expending energy on things that you don't have to? And how can you bring more energy and fill your own cup and keep it filled, and not just be having it going to other places that it doesn't need to go? And then you get all like, look at these two cards together. They're beautiful. It's just energy and happiness. And then that spreads to other people. When you're happy and positive and energetic, and you're not haven't spread yourself too thin, you motivate other people by living the best way to give to other people is to live in a way that inspires them. That's a way to give to people, instead of giving what you don't necessarily have. Live in a way that's motivating and inspiring to other people. So some of you may actually want to do that as a career, start a new career as that. It's a good example to set for your children, and things like that. So I don't know if some of you want to be a motivational coach, or go to a motivational coach, or a life coach, or something like that. But that's sort of the energy, is like to trim away, to prune away that dead wood, that stuff that's just weighing you down, that isn't even really your responsibility. So you can just flourish in the areas that really mean something to you. Okay, on to the sign of Aquarius. Hi there, Aquarius. How are you? Everyone can take a deep breath, set the intention for, figuring out whatever, if anything resonates with you or the first thing that comes to your mind. Be open to that. Ten of Shields, that's come up quite a bit this week for other signs. Ooh, Ace of Wands. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So this week, I would say you guys are stepping back and getting a higher perspective. This is, I love this card because of the horse. But the traditional Rider-Waite card has someone up on a hill, and he has a very high perspective. He can see very far. His, he can see all the way to the coast. He just has a very high perspective. So this is zooming out this week. This is at the bottom of the deck. Zooming out this week and looking at the big picture, because sometimes we get lost in the middle, in our everyday life or in the situation that's happening at the moment, and it's hard to get perspective and realize that it's temporary, or that things haven't always been the way they are right now. And it gives you the idea that you can make your life whatever you want it to be. Sometimes it's hard to get started because we feel like it seems so daunting, like, oh my God, if I start school, oh, that's 4 years or something, you know what I mean? But then if you think, look how fast you went through high school, or maybe you want to go to graduate school and you think, well, time's going to pass. You know what I mean? It's like you realize you have to start something in order to manifest it in the future, but you're getting a bigger perspective and sort of taking, reassess. It's a time of reassessment. And this may be happening because this is a card about extended family, many generations. Maybe you're talking to your grandmother and you are hearing about, she's telling you about her life, and you're like, oh my God, look at all she's done, all she's accomplished. And it just sort of inspires you to think, hey, life is short and it's time to make some things happen. What legacies do you want to keep from your family? What do you not want to keep? What needs to be buried with stay in the past and make new legacy for your family moving forward by how you live your life. So those big picture ideas, but then they become focused into this Ace of Wands, which is like something's inspiring you. Something's lit your fire. Something's gotten you, gotten your mojo back, getting you where you're inspired and motivated, and enthusiastic and passionate about something, to starting a new way of life, getting out of a rut. It's time to get out of a rut. And so maybe you're in that rut because your family is like, you are going to college and you're going to do this major. And you did it because you felt, when you're younger, even when you're older, you feel like, okay, I need to, you're almost conditioned, and you've even conditioned yourself. And now you're like, damn it, I went into computer science because that was a safe major in this day and age, but I want to be in theater. I want to be in this. And it's like, it's okay to recalibrate at any time, anywhere in your life. And so that you have this new emotional beginning. Opportunities start to come to you. You start to feel better emotionally, and opportunities come that match that vibration once you start opening yourself up to the possibility of living your life for your true purpose, that really brings you joy, that feeds your soul, that matches, that just feels right. You know what I'm saying? So you're kind of looking at all these different Where have I been? Where am I going? Legacy, all these different things, and it's culminating in this inspiration to live your life authentically. That's what I want to say. All right, Pisces. Last but not least, Pisces, how are you? Hope you're having a wonderful week, and have a wonderful week. Strength card, she's come out a couple times. Hanged Man. Okay. This week is a week to so this is a card about insomnia and anxiety. I think this week you're going to be like, screw it. Like, I'm not worrying about this anymore. I'm not overthinking and obsessing about something anymore. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to just put myself out there, or I'm going to take the action needed that I need to take. And I'm not going to worry about what other people think. I'm not going to worry about the consequences. Now, that doesn't mean you're doing something stupid. It means you are doing something even though you're worried and afraid, doing it anyway. So taking that new job, moving, ending a relationship, starting a relationship. It can, I'm reading for so many people, it could be anything, but what have you been up at night worrying about? It's like you're finally going to get the courage to deal with it. And you're going to, like, it's all of a sudden you're going to see it from a different perspective. It's like you've been a one-trick pony where this situation is concerned, and you just are on this loop of just this negativity, and all of a sudden it's going to derail you in a good way, where you're going to be like, I've been looking at this all wrong. And so you need to shift. In order to get out of this, you need to shift your perspective. I mean, look, you have this beautiful healing star card underneath it. Time to start healing. Time to let go of resentment or trying to relive something that happened in the past, and I should have done this, I could have done this, I should have, and it's like, you know what, let it go. And where's the wisdom from the situation? And it's time to move forward. It's time to move on. It's time to let that go. It's time. That's kind of what I'm getting. It's time, guys. And things come into balance. This is one of the balance cards in the deck. There are several of them, but this is one of them. Some ways to heal and to stop letting resentment from past situations contaminate things in the future is by getting outside yourself. And this can be that perspective. Maybe you can somehow help the hurricane and earthquake victims in some way. And if you can't, you can do something locally. I mean, it doesn't even matter necessarily where you give or help, and you can give your time, you can give your there are lots of different ways you can give other than money. That's what I was going to say. When you start seeing what some people, and it doesn't mean your situation isn't bad, and if you've had something truly tragic, my heart goes out to you, and this isn't for you, because this is a situation you've been hanging on to for a really long time, like a past relationship or a past job situation or a past family situation. This isn't an immediate crisis. So if you're in an immediate crisis, my heart goes out to you. Obviously, that's not what I'm talking about. But say you have a breakup and you're just having a hard time getting over it. Go help someone else. Go help at your local soup kitchen. Help with special needs children. Help God, go to a children's cancer center. I mean, if you want to get out of your poor me, uh, that's one way to have it really happen really fast. But you're getting a some way, somehow, in some way, you're getting a different perspective that helps bump you out of that slump. So that's wonderful. All right. I hope everyone has a wonderful, wonderful week. Take care.